Back in the late 2000s, we were going through a pretty substantial fuel crisis. At one point, gas was $4.10 a gallon. Sounds similar to right now. At that time, everything that was being produced was dreadfully boring, but Honda swept in and brought us this. 2007 Honda Fit, a fun solution to fuel economy. Honda's been making fuel-efficient and practical hatchbacks since the beginning. In 1981, Honda introduced the City. It was a small three-door hatchback that was marketed as Honda's smallest car in their lineup. It was actually 6 inches shorter than the Honda Civic. The first-gen City ran until 1986, and the second-gen came in from 1986 to 1994. The City was only available in Japan, Europe, and Australia. The Honda City hatchback was replaced by the logo in 1996. The logo was offered with either 3 or 5 doors. Honda tried to repeat the success of the original Civic with the logo, as it was essentially the same size as the original Civic CVCC, and it used the same size engine. The logo only ran from 1996 to 2001. The first generation Fit was released to Japan in 2001. It's also known as the Honda Jazz in other countries. In 2006, Honda released the Fit to North America to compete with other subcompact hatchbacks like the Toyota Yaris and Chevy Aveo. A Fit with the manual transmission like this one boasted up to 33 miles per gallon in the city and 38 on the highway, which were actually one of the best fuel economy ratings for back in 2006. Honda marketed the first-gen Fit as a more fun alternative to its more depressing and dull competitors. The Fit lasted for 3 more generations, and Honda even produced an all-electric variant of the Fit called the Fit EV in 2012. Unfortunately, because of the dying subcompact hatchback segment in North America, the Fit was retired after the 2020 model year, and other countries used the Honda City hatchback as their replacement. This Fit in particular belongs to my friend Karna. It's a 2007 5-speed Fit Sport in Storm Silver Metallic. So there were 2 trim levels for the Fit back in 07, the base and the Sport. The Sport trim level added a premium audio system, keyless entry, fog lights, the body kit with the rear spoiler, and most importantly, these 15-inch alloy wheels that come standard on the Sport and were optional on the base. So for the most part, besides the Fit EV, the Fit has used one powertrain. And of course it has VTEC. So under the hood of every first generation Fit, you will find this 1.5 liter single overhead cam 4-cylinder with VTEC, of course. It makes 109 horsepower and 105 pound-feet of torque. You could either get that with a 5-speed automatic or a 5-speed manual like this one. Now, in terms of fuel economy, a 5-speed Fit like this one can get 33 in the city and up to 38 on the highway. So for being such a small car, the Fit does have a lot of space in the trunk. With the back seat up, you get 21 cubic feet of volume, and when you fold this flat, you get 43 cubic feet of volume, which is pretty competitive, and it's a little bit bigger than the Aveo and some other cars. There's also a donut and tools underneath, which is something I miss because now you just get a can of Fix-A-Flat and hopes and prayers. But the rear seat is a 60-40 split, and Honda calls it their magic folding seat. So Honda calls this the magic folding seat because there's 3 different modes. So first there's a cargo mode, as they call it, so you could fold this seat flat. That's what the headrest is here. So cargo mode, tall mode, where you could put tall things in the middle because you could fold this seat up. You just pull it up. And then, so if you slide the passenger seat up all the way, you pull the headrest out, and then you fold the seat back flat. They call this camping mode because you could lie down or lounge or, camp in the back seat of the Fit. The passenger seat is where I would sit, and I'm 5'9". I'll close the door. First, I want to talk about the quality back here. Now, because this is a cheap car, you shouldn't expect Lexus levels of comfort and opulence back here, but everything that you feel feels nice, and it doesn't feel cheap. Like, this is plastic, but it feels like, I don't know, like a young person, like my Bluetooth speaker, in a good way. And then this cool fabric texture over here. So you might be thinking, because this is such a small car, the space back here is also small. You're actually wrong. I'm 5'9", and the seat is where I'd sit. not really all the way back in its tracks, but I'm 5'9". I can fit my feet under the seat, and I have great legroom, and headroom is crazy too. You could squeeze 3 of me in the back of this, but this is more comfortably a 2 adult or 3 kid car. Now, because there's no armrest or center console for the front seats, there's no air vents. Now, I don't think any car in this class had air vents to begin with. You also don't get a center armrest for the back seats, but you do get big cup holders in each door. And the seat itself is pretty comfortable. I don't know how I'd feel after, 5 hours back here, but right now I'm comfortable. And now into the driver's seat of the Fit. This is a driver's car. I mean, people do all kinds of crazy things with this. Now, the seats are manual. They are a little bit supportive, but this is not anything, radical like a Fiesta ST, but the Fiesta ST wasn't even in the US at the time. And I'm looking at the steering wheel now. It's a 3-spoke, leather wrapped in the sport trim. It has the cruise control buttons, but no audio controls. It feels nice to the hand. It's a nice small size. It feels good for, whipping around back roads or just being very maneuverable in the city. But the space in here is crazy too. What I like about these older cars, I don't see a lot of new cars do this, is these little quarter windows here. You just see a little bit more, and it just feels a little bit more spacious in here. In terms of interior quality, on the door panel you get the same interesting textured fabric and the golf ball looking material on the dash and everything. It is all plastic, but it's an okay feeling plastic. I mean, it doesn't feel cheap or chintzy. Nothing in this car feels cheap. It feels really well put together. Like if you move, any plastic here, it doesn't creak or just sound like a cheap car. This still feels really well built. The driver's side window is auto down, but not auto up, and the others are just, regular up and down electronic. And in typical Honda fashion, the gauges are very easy to read. There's not a lot going on. You have the tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge. You don't even get a temp gauge. You just get a light for when the engine is cold. And that's okay. That's something that all the other cars in this segment have. Some don't even have a tachometer. The head unit in this car is a doubled in. So if you want to change it, it's a doubled in. But the stock head unit in this is very funky looking. It looks like a CD player or an iPod. And what I like about this is that it's not complicated. You have your basic functions on this pad here, the big volume knob, you have a tuning knob, everything is well labeled, and just there's no screens and nothing to overwhelm you. And that's the same thing with the climate control. It's single zone climate control. It's not automatic, and every Fit has had this, the manually opening and closing vents. Below that you have a 12-volt power outlet, a big storage cubby where I'd put my phone now, and an aux jack, which was only available on the Sport. You also have 2 reasonably sized cup holders, but speaking of cup holders, there's no cup holders on the door cards themselves. You just have little pockets here. And of course you have the shifter for the 5-speed manual. The shifts are very clicky. The throws are not too long. It feels nice and just quick, but I'll talk about that soon. No center armrest, just a cup holder and a little bit of storage here and there, but I mean, it's okay. The car is small enough that it doesn't really bother me. And of course, this one does not have a sunroof. My first impressions, I mean, I've driven this for a few minutes already. The first thing I wanted to mention is how light the clutch is. Now, I'm used to a truck clutch, and my truck, the clutch on that isn't even heavy compared to other trucks, but the clutch on everything on this is very light and easy. Like if you want to learn how to drive stick on this, you're gonna have a really good time. I mean, the steering is light, the clutch is light, everything. But we're going to see how it does on this straight road here. That's floored. Wow, it's kind of fun. No, there's not. So of course, it's not a fast car. It's only 109 horsepower. But just the way how the engine revs, and this has VTEC, it just feels light. And also this car is 2,400 pounds. But these cars handle really well. I mean, people take these things on the track, autocross, they build these things to just be little monsters. They are like little go-karts. And that's something that makes the Fit more fun than even a Yaris, especially a Yaris or anything that was put out at that time. But in terms of ride, this thing rides solid. It doesn't ride like a tin can like how, I mean, I've been in well, not the Yaris, I've been in the Echo. And thankfully, I've not been in such of a trash can like the Aveo. If you have an Aveo, I'm not sorry. But this thing feels a little bit more premium than everything like that. It just feels like a Honda. Fun. Power comes around $3,000. When you're just driving it normally too, you don't feel the asthmatic 100 horsepower. It feels torquier than it is, and the throttle response is also something that Honda did well on this. It's really good, and it's flat on the corners too. My goodness. I mean, of course, there's not a lot of power. I tried to chirp the tires. It's just fun. That's something that I wanted to talk about. I feel like Honda should have made a Fit SI. They really would have, you know, slapped the Fiesta ST in the face if they did something like that, because this is already such a good platform. They could have just put, like, I don't know, even a base Civic 1.8 in this, you know. Well, you know, we should ask for more. Let's say like 170 horsepower. That would be a good engine, you know, naturally aspirated, because everything is turbo, you know, turbo lag. Naturally aspirated with VTEC, that'd be a good handling car, because like it already is like very tight and sharp. They really should have done that. And maybe, well, the Fiesta is dead too, but maybe they could have sold more, you know, Fits to another outlet, and more people would respect them instead of being like, you know, oh, it's just a daily but nothing else. Okay, so the 07 Fit. I honestly really like these. I'm kind of biased towards Hondas, and especially right now in a time that fuel-saving dailies are very handy. So if you're looking for one of these, get them now, because I think cars like this are gonna start getting real expensive. But on that note, it's the end of this video, so thank you for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you have a car that you'd like me to review, just let me know in the email below. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, peeps.